The first time I saw his handwriting, I thought it was a joke. The second time, I realized it was the only reason I wanted to show up at school. It started with a sticky note, yellow and crumpled, pinned behind a stack of outdated club flyers on the bulletin board in the main hallway of Crestwood High. Everyone else ignored that board. It was cluttered with lost dog posters, band editions, and year-old announcements. But tucked between the layers was a small square of paper with 5 words, written in dark ink. "Do you ever feel invisible?" I don't know what possessed me to respond. Maybe it was the fact that my life felt like one long invisible act blending in when I desperately wanted to scream. I wrote back, shaky letters on a blue sticky note, "Every damn day," and I slid it behind the same mess of flyers. The next morning, there was another note waiting. That was how it began. Not with eye contact in class, not with nervous laughter at lunch, but with folded scraps of paper hidden in plain sight. For weeks, it was only ink and paper that connected us. He signed nothing, I signed nothing. Just thoughts spilled in cramped handwriting. Notes about hating football practice, about how cafeteria pizza tasted like rubber, about how teachers never really see you even when you raise your hand. And sometimes, confessions too raw to ever say aloud. Sometimes I want to run away and never come back. Sometimes I do too. We were strangers bound by secrets, and it was intoxicating. Then one day I caught him. It was a Tuesday morning, the hallway nearly empty, the janitor's mop bucket squeaking in the distance. I saw a boy tall, broad-shouldered, his dark curls messy from sleep sliding, a folded note beneath a faded prom flyer. His hand trembled as he pressed it flat. My heart slammed so hard I thought it would give me away. When he turned, his eyes locked with mine. Brown eyes, warm and frightened all at once. Neither of us spoke. He walked away, his pace too fast to be casual, leaving me frozen there with the weight of realization. His name was Caleb Rivera. Caleb, the varsity basketball player, the guy who laughed the loudest in the cafeteria, who had a girlfriend last year that everyone envied. The kind of boy who seemed to have it all, but whose notes told a story nobody else could see. That night, his note simply read, "Now you know," and mine, trembling in my hands, answered, "I won't tell." The secrecy grew heavier after that. We wrote more, longer. Our words dripped with the kind of truths that would have burned us alive if spoken aloud. I hate the way people look at me like I'm something I'm not. I hate it too. Sometimes I think about what it would be like if I could just be myself. Maybe we'd survive. Maybe we wouldn't. Every note was a lifeline, but also a trap. I started living for them, craving the curl of his letters, the way his handwriting tilted slightly to the left, like it was leaning into me. But with each note, I also fell deeper into something I wasn't supposed to. I started watching him in class, memorizing the way he tapped his pencil when bored, the curve of his grin when he pretended to care about the lesson. I noticed the exhaustion in his posture, the way his friends never really noticed when his smile didn't reach his eyes. And then it hit me. I wasn't just addicted to the notes. I was addicted to him, which was stupid, dangerous, impossible. Because Caleb Rivera wasn't supposed to feel the same. The first time we touched, it wasn't planned. It was a Wednesday afternoon, rain hammering against the school windows. I was sliding my reply onto the board, my hands shaking, when suddenly his hand appeared over mine. Warm, firm. I froze. He froze. For a second, the hallway dissolved. It was just his skin against mine, the thunder rumbling outside like some cruel soundtrack. He pulled back first, snatching his hand like he'd been burned. His jaw clenched, and his eyes darted down the hall, checking if anyone had seen. Nobody had. But the electricity between us lingered long after. That night, his note was short, "I can't stop thinking about it." And mine confessed, "Me neither." But Crestwood High wasn't kind to boys like us. Rumors were currency, and secrets spread faster than wildfire. People already whispered about me how I never dated girls, how I'd rather sit in the art room than the bleachers. And Caleb? He had a reputation to protect. Captain of the basketball team, golden boy of the school. If anyone knew the truth behind the notes, it would destroy him. So we kept playing our dangerous game, hiding love in the shadows of ink and paper, until the night of the winter formal. That night, I saw Caleb with a girl on his arm, smiling for pictures under the fairy lights. My chest hollowed out, but I couldn't even be surprised. Of course he couldn't choose me, not in public. Of course I was nothing but a secret scribbled on sticky notes. I left early, my breath catching in the cold night air, my hands shoved in my pockets like I could hide the ache. When I reached the bulletin board the next morning, there was a note waiting. It read, "She doesn't mean anything. But you're the only thing that feels real." I pressed the paper to my chest and let myself cry, even as I hated myself for it. That was the beginning of the breaking point. Because loving him in secret was killing me, and hiding me in secret was killing him too. And yet, even as the walls closed in, I couldn't let him go. Not when his words felt like oxygen in a world that wanted us to suffocate. The breaking point came faster than either of us expected. A week after the winter formal, someone found one of our notes. I don't know how it must have slipped, must have been left half visible behind the flyers. By lunch period, whispers followed me like a shadow. By seventh period, people were laughing in corners, eyes flicking between Caleb and me. Couldn't breathe. I skipped basketball practice that day, hiding in the art room, fingers smudged with charcoal I couldn't seem to wash away. My phone buzzed again and again, his name lighting the screen, but I couldn't bring myself to answer. When the door finally creaked open, I didn't have to look up. I knew it was him. "Ethan," he whispered, voice raw. "Say something, please." I slammed my sketchbook shut. "What do you want me to say? That this was all a mistake? That I should have never written back?" His footsteps closed the distance until he was standing right in front of me. I kept my eyes glued to the table, but his hand hovered near mine, close enough that I could feel the warmth radiating. "It wasn't a mistake," he said, so soft it hurt. "You're the only thing that feels like it isn't a lie." I finally looked at him then. His eyes were rimmed red, his shoulders tense, and for the first time I saw him not as Crestwood's golden boy, but as a boy barely holding himself together. And God, I wanted to believe him, but the laughter echoing in the halls outside made me flinch. "Caleb, you can't have it both ways. You can't hold me in the dark and pretend in the light. It'll destroy me. It'll destroy us." He flinched like I'd struck him. Silence swallowed the room. Then, quietly, he asked, "What if I didn't hide anymore?" 2 days later, Caleb Rivera kissed me in front of the entire school. It wasn't planned. It wasn't strategic. It was messy, reckless, terrifying. It happened in the middle of the gym after the final buzzer of the Friday night game. Crestwood had just lost, the crowd restless, his teammates disappointed. But Caleb didn't look at them. He looked at me, standing near the bleachers, clutching my jacket like armor. And before I could process it, he walked across the court, grabbed my face with both hands, and kissed me like the world could burn and he wouldn't care. The gym erupted gasps, shouts, some cruel laughter, but all I could hear was the pounding of my heart and the taste of him, warm and trembling against me. When he pulled back, breathless, he whispered, "No more hiding. Not from them, not from you." And even though fear knifed through me, something stronger swelled in its place. Relief, love. Because for the first time, we weren't just words on paper. We were real. The weeks that followed weren't easy. People talked. Some friends drifted. His teammates gave him looks sharp enough to cut. A few teachers pretended not to notice, as if pretending would make it easier. And there were nights when Caleb broke down in my arms, whispering that maybe he'd ruined everything, that maybe he'd ruined me too. But there were also mornings when I woke up to find a note taped to my locker that simply read, "You're worth it." And afternoons when we sat side by side on the bleachers, our knees brushing, laughter spilling in between stolen glances, and I realized we were building something stronger than fear. Not perfect, not easy, but ours. Spring came, and with it, graduation. The bulletin board where it all began was stripped clean, the flyers gone, the layers of notes and paper peeled away. But hidden behind the wood, in a crack near the edge, one folded scrap remained. It was the last one Caleb left for me. No more secrets. No more sticky notes. Just us. Wherever that takes us. I folded it into my wallet, close to my heart, knowing I'd never let it go. Because love, I'd learned, isn't about the notes you hide. It's about the moments you finally dare to live out loud. Years later, when people ask how we met, Caleb always laughs and says, "It started with a sticky note." And I always smile because the truth is, it started with a boy who asked if I ever felt invisible. And it ended with him making sure I never was again. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.